right? So, I like to gush about my wife. It's pretty amazing what she was able to accomplish. But you know what? We were able to move into the house. We love it, and I mean, it's just such an accomplishment. So, anyone out there that is trying to push for that first deal, I mean, there's a lot of people here that can help you from all angles. Lean into them because I mean, it's amazing, right? It's just an amazing feeling.
Man, you know what's amazing about what you said, man? And I just zeroed in on it. You said it's not it's about what you agree to. You know what I'm saying? Like when you when you get with that other person, when you and that's why it's so important to have, to have that agreement first, before you even, go any place. And I'm talking to people that are single, you may have a boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, what have you, but what you agree to is key. It's not a set rule or anything like that, but what you agree to. And once you agree to that, then that's how you need to stick to it. So I love it, man. I love the fact that you're pliable. I love the fact that you like whatever needs to happen. If I got to go get a job, then I'm gonna go get a job. I'm not gonna be prideful about it. I'm gonna go get a job and work until whatever happens happens. And I love it. So great stuff. Big ups to you, brother.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And when I hear a couple of these, super successful people that are on this app, something they all have in common is they're continuing to hustle. They are billionaires or they are multimillionaires, and they are tops in their game. But they will listen to people on the call, seek out opportunity, and then say, "Hey, send me a DM," and they mean it. That's the crazy part.
Absolutely.
They have reached such a level they don't have to work another day in their life, but they haven't lost the
Well,
drive. They haven't lost that hustle.
what's funny about that, Ron, is we talk about being new again, being new all over again, and that's really like even in my business, in real estate, we I mean we talk about it. I mean, you've got to be new. The Bible says to renew yourself daily. And in this business it's so easy to get old and stale and not do this and not do that, get satisfied, but you've got to renew yourself all the time. And that's what those serial entrepreneurs are doing.
Yes, I just wanted to jump in here and just say I really want to salute the men in here because I definitely hear the effort that you have put in, prioritizing your families and communicating. And I find that very refreshing. I know a lot of you guys, and I can hear you, trying to balance your families and, like someone mentioned, even trying to be on Clubhouse for networking, but also keeping that boundary of getting your family time in. And I think that's so important because, and I like where the conversation is going this morning because sometimes or a lot of times on the journey to closing your first deal, you have to have these conversations, right? Like, so I know Will's here in spirit down there, but he talks about, going out, putting out his bandit signs late at night, right? And Tim tells us stories about going to knock on those doors. Well, when you're going to do that, that's time away from your family that you have to explain to your family, right? And so I just want to salute you guys. That's the purpose of this room. We're doing the Father's Day edition, whether you're a father yet or not. We know you're a father figure to somebody, you're a big brother, uncle, big cousin, all of that. Or maybe you're just a mentor, leader in your community. And that's the purpose of this room. So we're talking about how to close your first deal. And this is the Father's Day edition, just celebrating men today. We want to hear your voices, hear from you. And the women, we're here on stage, of course, to support. And so I want you guys to feel comfortable. I've sent some invites. So if you want to come up and share how you're balancing your family and your journey to closing your first deal or your next deal, because I know we have some seasoned folks in here. We want to hear from you today because it's all about the men today. So I appreciate Tim and Will for their leadership, co-founders of Wholesalers R Us. And if you're new to this room, this has been another real estate talk room, as we're here every single day with real estate related rooms. Right now, we have been discussing the balance of family and I guess real estate and business, right? And what that looks like for people. And everybody's just kind of sharing. So passing it back over to you, Tim, but let's keep this conversation going.
That's perfect. I mean, I definitely want to hear from some of the men. I see we got Sawan up.
I want to
Uh,
hear from some wine. He got like what, 5 kids? One.
You
yeah,
already
that's what I was
know.
looking at. I'm looking
We
at the
got the
Let's
photo.
go.
basketball team, you know
Yeah,
what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
know he got
y'all
some
We
doing
got
some
the volleyball
practicing.
team.
Y'all doing some practicing over there, man.
Amen. Amen. Hey, y'all need to level y'all game up. That's what it is. But
Happy Father's Day, bro.
oh, thank you. Happy Father's Day to you, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I actually, it's funny. I appreciate the conversation. Yesterday my wife treated me. I don't drink a lot, but I drink on occasion. And when I drink, I like to grill, and she knows I like to grill. So yesterday she treated me, to some of my favorites, and then we went to the fresh meat section to grab some meat for me to put on the grill that I just put on the grill right now. So um, yeah, it's definitely a balancing act as far as balancing work and family. And I'll tell you, it'll never be, in my opinion, it'll never be even. I just don't see that. Because even now that like the real estate business kind of goes, I'm still involved in it, but it kind of goes. Now I'm doing a lot of the little education stuff, and I'm doing some personal branding stuff, so that takes more work there. And so it's never, I don't see it being a balance. Honestly, I kind of use it as a temperature gauge, because I know if if my wife is not complaining about me spending X amount of time working, then I know I'm not working hard enough. And I honestly don't see that as a problem, because in the Bible, God gave man work before he,
Come on,
before, before he gave him a wife.
come on.
So, and I think that's what we're supposed to do first. Is we're supposed to work, we're supposed to be providers, hardworking, and I just believe in that. I believe in that seriously. Now, if you're just quote unquote doing a lot of busy work and not getting any results, then that's not acceptable either. But I definitely, preach and teach. Hey, we gotta go out here and kill it. We gotta go get it today. How much money have you made today? I ask my little cousin that all the time. You know, it's 10 o'clock. How much money you made? Let's go. So I don't think there's ever gonna be a balance, in my opinion. But yeah.
Hey, so wine, what you sipping
So,
on over there, man?
All right, so I am, if you guys ever, are with me out and about, I always get a Long Island iced tea. So I get Crown Royal, and I get
Hey,
1800. Yeah, I get Crown Royal 1800 and some Pepsi, and that's kind of my go-to. When one of my tenants, I have like the best tenant, y'all. Look, she has a cousin in St. John, I think it is, the Virgin Islands. But whenever she goes over there, she'll bring me back this Hennessy, and they don't make it over here. It's the cognac. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I know about
It,
that pure white. That's it.
bro, it's the pure white. Yes, it's the pure white, and she'll bring me like four of those, and that's truly my favorite. But they don't have them here in the states.
awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Like I said, I think this is amazing. We want to continue to hear from the men that are here on the stage. I see Q's in the house. Hey, Quentin, how are you?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy Father's Day weekend. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone and say hello? We're talking about how to close your first deal, but it's Father's Day weekend, so we're celebrating all men, whether you have children or not. We know that you're father figures. You guys are definitely community leaders in all that you do in real estate. So it's all about the men today, and the women we're here to support and really celebrate you guys. So appreciate you popping in. Q, you want to add anything to the convo?
Yeah, sure. What's up, everybody? My name is Quentin Flores. I'm a real estate investor here in San Antonio. I own multiple different companies. I just like to have fun and add value when I can. And yeah, Deanna is a good friend of mine. Will, Tim, love these people on the stage. And yeah, I'm just here to provide value. I think so. In regards to Father's Day edition, how to close your first deal. Where my dad's at in the building.
Yo, yo,
Man, I'm
yo.
telling you. Y'all know what's up. I mean, at the end of the day, family is the most important thing. Like, I love that we get a day. Like, I really do love that we get that one day where it's like, this is our day type thing. Man, I mean, I tell you, I feel that becoming a dad, I tried 3 times before, and me and my wife, she miscarried twice and had a stillbirth on the third time. and then we finally had our son. So it is a blessing. And I know that there's some people that are probably going through something like that or have gone through something like that in the past, to say that I'm a dad now. And I feel that a lot of people, especially in business, or even when you're starting a business, having a child and then trying to close your first deal, are two of the most difficult things that I think anyone will ever go through in their entire lives. Because a lot of people, they try to paint this picture like wholesaling is super easy. And yeah, the concept is easy, but getting in there and actually getting it done while also trying to be a parent is the ultimate challenge. And that's with anything. That's with your fitness goals, with your spiritual goals, your self-love goals. I always think that that's also important, but also in regards to being a provider, in regards to being a protector, as someone who in my opinion, I try to lead my family as much as I can. No matter what, though, I'm always putting my lady above me. I always tell my wife, I'm the rock, you're my mountain. I wouldn't be sitting on this ground if it wasn't for her doing what she does for me every single day. And so I think one of the best ways for my dads in the building to close their first deals is to get the family involved as much as possible. Now, a lot of chicks that I know of, and I'll say chicks because my girl, I think is my chick. I feel that, not everyone's all about the real estate life, and that's okay. I know I have some ladies in here that are just kicking ass in the game. Some of y'all are really trying to put your time into this. And as I was growing into my business, my lady didn't give a shit about real estate. And it wasn't a bad thing. I loved my girl because she supported the crap out of me anyway. And there was a time when she was the provider and I was the one who was at home trying to figure out his life. And she sacrificed. She allowed me the time frame to get into this business so that I could do what I had to do to provide for our family. Now, in regards to closing your first deal, man, make it an experience. If you have to, and if you absolutely cannot get a babysitter or anything like that, pack your kid up in the car, go out there, drive around, hit up Sonic or something, get everybody an ice cream, and then drive for dollars. That's got to be one of the most lucrative things that anybody can do. Plus, you're involving your family. I always think that family is a team sport, just because the goals at the end aren't aligned, the goal is always the same. Like my wife, she's a music artist. I'm just a businessman. And so I always say, you're gonna be rocking stages and whatnot. And she always says, well, you're gonna be a breadwinning badass, and I'm always like, we're both gonna be there. We're gonna both be breadwinners, right? And so we always make it a team effort. I go, you guys know that I have the YouTube channel and everything, right? I do most of my own filming and then I source my editing to the Philippines. My lady, whenever she's performing, I take my cameras and I film her performances for her and I get her videos edited. And when I need to go out and I need to work, she's watching the kid, and vice versa. When she needs to go out, she needs to do a show. I'll stay home, I'll be with the kid, and sometimes we'll just do both with the kid and involved. But family to me is a team sport. Even if your kid has no idea what's going on, they're going to appreciate the time that you spent with them, because if there's anything that I remember my mom by is by taking me with her, even when she was having to fucking donate plasma to take care of my ass. And it may have been sitting in the back seat of the car, but I absorbed all of that and I apply it to the way that I raise my child today. So, man, cheers to all the dads in here that are trying to make it happen. Put them in the car, lead your family, do whatever you can, put your woman above you in anything that you do, and I guarantee it, you'll close your first deal real fast. If you really want to know the secret to becoming successful, man, go home and love your wife and your son or your daughter or whoever your partner is. All right?
Yeah, I think that's actually one of the keys to success is actually is having like a partner. I don't know if any of you guys feel like that, but I really feel like that's like a true like shortcut to success, because you're like your spouse, your wife, like pushes you, you know, pushes you to get everything. You know what I mean? She pushes you, she motivates you. She lets you know, hey, look, you're getting kind of off. Get back on track. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Am I the only one?
No, you're not. My mine is over here pushing me now. So you're not the only one. She's listening now. She's like, I'm just pushing you now. But that's real stuff. That's absolutely real. There's nothing like a life partner, your wife that will, mine prays for me, and I'm super grateful for. Just super, super grateful for that. She actually handed me some of my first affirmations, personal affirmations. And, I can't, I can't quantify how grateful I am to have my wife. So, yeah, I put her above. So I'm just I'm super grateful. I mean there's nothing like having the right spouse, the right person, that will get you in that place. That's why, ladies, I mean, it's so important. Like just the signs that you see now, that aren't quite right. I mean, listen, pay attention to those signs. I mean, those men are probably not for you. When it really really comes down to it. So I know we got some more brothers on the stage. Mr. Byron, B.O.B., what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm just tapping in, listening in. Man, we got my guy Tyler in the audience, man. We got to get my guy
Where Tyler?
Tyler up, man.
Where Tyler? Okay, let me bring him up here. Oh, what's up, Tyler? All right, there we go. Bam.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Quentin in the building. You know what I mean? Sawan, all of the fathers, Tim, Will, Farah, Justice, Gina, Deanna in the building. Look, man, JR, Dean. Man, look, man, I'm excited to be here, man. I was just actually doing some pre-work. I just got off a Zoom with Ian, and man, when I tell you that guy there, he's something else, man. That guy a
Mindset,
whole genius, man.
man.
Yeah,
Whew,
he a
Jesus.
whole genius, man. You know what I mean?
I don't want to
And
cut you off,
so
but Ian texts me every single morning, and he is a genius. Phone conversations with him are like mindset changing. I promise you.
absolutely.
Hey B, today we kind of Justice actually closed his second deal, and just had a baby about seven. I think it's been 7 days ago. So we started there, man, and we've been yeah, I like that, and we've been kind of going into different directions, man. Of being a good father, along with closing your first deal. So that's the kind of direction that we're going in today. And the ladies, of course, are dating now, and some of those men have some red flags. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about today.
Oh, nice. So tell me this, Judge, how does it feel to cash that big old check, man? Let's talk about it.
We haven't gotten there yet. We're still waiting on the wire transfer.
Gotcha. Ain't that annoying?
I just have patience.
Super.
I don't like to complain. I just be patient. Just wait.
It's annoying.
It's like, can you hurry up and get here so I can believe that this is real? That's what it was for me, at least. That's what it was for me.
Yeah, just being at the table yesterday with Will and Tim, and meeting some new people. Just networking. It feel good, and the money just like the icing on the cake. I love the business, so it all feel good to me. It's great. I know it's gonna come through.
Hey, Byron, you got any tips for them, how to stay focused, man, and keep it going? You know what I'm saying? So we ain't thinking about one deal, we thinking about multiple deals. So
Absolutely.
can you give them some advice on that, bro?
Absolutely. I would say, man, the main thing once you start closing that first and that second deal is to really, really hone in on your marketing and, put together a marketing plan for at least 6 months. I think once you get that first deal, you want to start, you want to take you a certain amount of money and just sit it to the side and say, guess what? Every single dime of this is going to go into my marketing strategy, whatever that marketing strategy may be for the next 6 months. And I'm not going to stop no matter what. I think that's where a lot of us mess up at the beginning because, when you first close that first deal, you're going to be like, yo, like, I just want to spend and enjoy this money. And that's dope. Like, that's actually dope. But and I do think it's a space for that to be able to enjoy the money, take the lady out and really really enjoy. But at the same time, man, you do not want to fall off on that marketing piece because that is the quickest way to start over in your business. And next thing you know, um, you just playing start over all the time, man. And it's like I see a lot of people that come into the space like, and they'll do that first 2 to 3 deals, 4 to 5 deals, and then every 6 months you talk to them, it's almost like they starting a business back over again. And they'll be like saying stuff like, well, yeah, I'm finna get back into it. I closed me a couple deals and blah blah blah. Now I'm finna get back into it. I'm finna get back into it. And it's whack because it's like, yo, like all you have to do is put that money aside, right? And keep that marketing going. That way you can build up a consistent deal flow and build up a pipeline. And in that way, you won't have to be starting your business over every time you run out of money type of situation. So that was one of the biggest keys. I feel like that was able to help me propel. And I'll be honest with you, man, like I think I did that for probably about the first, man, like my first maybe 10 or 15 deals. I was just kind of inconsistent in like keeping it going. And so I ended up just outsourcing that, man. Like, so I ended up hiring somebody, man, to help with my admin stuff and pulling lists and all that kind of stuff. I hired them on part-time, and I just delegated that, man, because I knew that every time I get me a $20,000 check, man, I just felt like, is this for me? Like, so is this just for me? And so like it's so I had to get rid of that. I had to get rid of that task and take it off my plate and have somebody else just keep my marketing consistent, man, because I did not have that skill. And I recognized that early. And so yeah, that's what I was.
Hey Byron, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Hey, so how do you like keep balance between like all that you have going on with being an entrepreneur and your home life? Like, how do you balance the two?
Yeah. So I'm big on systems, right? So it's funny because I was looking at a post from Rockefeller. It said a lot of y'all are working way too hard to make any money. And what I realized really quickly, not really, really quickly, I take that back. It was actually over a lot of painstaking years, probably, is that, hustling and scaling are two separate things. And I think a lot of us trap ourselves into thinking that we got to hustle our ass off in order to make money. And it's just not true. It's not true. Like if you can put together the right systems, if you could put the right people in place and become a better leader, I think that's a higher ROI on your time in any business. But especially in the wholesale space, because man, let me tell you, after maybe about 20, 30 deals, man, you're gonna start to feel it. You really gonna start to feel it. You're gonna start to get a little bit of burnout fatigue. And you're gonna be dealing with these difficult sellers, these difficult buyers, these lazy ass title companies, and it gets frustrating, right? And when it's just one person, I think it could really, really, really just be a drain after a while. And you don't want to get to that space. You don't want to get to that space. And I think the best way to kind of help mitigate that process is to start thinking systems early. Start thinking KPIs and tracking early. The earlier the better. It just sets you up for more of uh, just a better life balance, just in general. Right now, I spend maybe about 10 to 15 hours a week on my wholesale business, period. I don't typically go over that. Sometimes I am putting out a couple fires from time to time, but for the most part, I'm not doing a whole bunch of work in that space, and I like it that way. And I'm not guilty anymore about that either. At the beginning,
Woo,
sometimes
there
you
we
could be
go.
guilty about that.
That
You
part.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not guilty about it. I expect it, and I make sure, right, that I am very, very aggressive about protecting my time and my energy. And even with my employees, sometimes they'll just blow your phone up for every little bitty thing, and sometimes I pick up, and sometimes I make them figure it out, right? So it's all about that leadership and training your people to be self-sufficient. And if they're not self-sufficient enough, then you just that can be a sign as well. So yeah, so that's what I would say to that, Jim.
One of the things I want to add on to what Byron's saying too, in regards to that, I feel that that part is very important. Another part that's super important is communication with your partner. Like, I'm telling you guys, I'm always talking to my lady. I'm always on the phone with her. We're always FaceTiming. And then I'll leave the office. I'll go have lunch with her. I'll invite her and my son over to my office. My office is set up like my house. My mentor told me if your office don't feel like your crib, you're never gonna be there. You know what I mean? I mean, who likes going to work? Let's be honest, right? Most of you people here who are employed, you fucking hate your job to some extent. So when I walk into my office, it's literally like a second house to me. So I have a little area set up for when my son can come in and he can play. My lady knows I'm on a mission too. Like, she knows what's up, and she knows that we're in the season of sacrifice. It's not just me; it's her too. We do this thing together. And so I feel where a lot of relationships mess up in regards to someone who's building a business is most of the time in the communication. You can't just go and then say, hey, I'm gonna leave you at home all day while I go and I do all of this, or like, hey, we're not gonna see each other this entire week. Like, nah, man, you're gonna make that shit work. This is badass book that I 1000% gotta recommend to everybody that's in the audience. I actually have a free copy of it. Just hit me up. I'll send you the Google Drive link. You can download it and then put it to Amazon Kindle. You can read that shit for free. It's called Eat That Frog. If God told you that every single day you had to eat a frog, and if you didn't eat a frog, you would die, what time of the day would you choose to eat that frog? I'd knock that shit out straight in the morning, right? So how many frogs do you got in your pocket that you're putting off to eat at the end of the day, right? So think about this for a second. Let's go ahead and time block. Let's put your family as a priority, because family is more important than business, in my opinion. And we can all have different opinions, not a big deal, because I do like making money. I do like owning a business. But for me, man, like, you got to put your family first too. I made the mistake of losing my family before because I went into a grindaholic mode, and I lost myself in that lifestyle, because you'll be trapped helping other people when you should be making sure that your family and your house is good. So that's why the systems that Byron were talking about are so important, because they allow for you to free up your time so that you can have that luxury of going home and spending some time with your lady, or going home, or even like, all right, guys, I'm gonna leave the office early today. I'm gonna take off at 2 o'clock, and then I'll go and get a mani and a pedi with my girl. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as we're doing this together, that's the most important thing here. Is that, like, family and business is a team sport. Both of them are separate businesses, right? And so you got to take care of both. If you give one more attention than the other, right? What happens when you don't give your lady attention, or when you don't give your body attention, or you don't give your business attention? Those things tend to leave you. So it's imperative that you figure out a way to put all of these things that are priorities into your schedule. Eat that frog.
I like that. I like that. Eat that frog.
Get that frog out the way.
Get it out the
Eh,
way. He said
Yeah,
early in the morning. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And when you
Early.
really get savage with it, you get somebody else to eat that frog for you. You be like, you know what? I got
Ooh,
something.
Talking
ooh,
good.
ooh, ooh.
I like
Woo!
it.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Mr. TJ, what's going on, big dog?
Just listening to this nurturing conversation, man. Very appreciative to be here with you guys on this fine afternoon.
Man, happy
What's up to
Father's
all
Day
them?
to you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Likewise, likewise. Happy Father's Day to every father here on stage, moderating. To all the single moms, happy Father's Day to you too as well. You're very much appreciated.
I ain't think about that aspect, but yeah, we got some single moms as fathers too. That's real.
Well, yeah,
Facts.
yeah.
Do y'all feel like
So
that's disrespectful though to say? Because I mean, I'm a
No,
single mom, and I always
no,
tell my mom Happy Father's Day every single
Hell
year,
nah.
and a gift.
nah,
Hell
no. That's
nah.
nah.
real. It's
Okay.
Run
real.
it.
It's real.
Run it.
Yeah, because I mean, because really, I mean, women, women have absorbed that responsibility of being both. So happy Father's Day to y'all.
Yeah,
Happy
And let's put
Father's
it
Day.
into perspective. Women really create men. So
That's right.
that's another one.
Happy Father's Day to the ladies.
Facts. TJ, man, what's going on? You got some advice for Justice, man. Everybody been giving Justice some advice.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm not sure what's
he
going on.
he closed
He's in search for his first deal.
he closed his second deal yesterday,
Okay, okay,
and
How
we've
you,
been
yeah,
how
giving.
you manage how you manage your business and your families? And your family. I said family, my bad.
Yeah, his first baby 7 days ago.
Oh,
yeah,
congrats, man.
yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Yeah, I think it's all about prioritizing. Very similar to what Quentin and Byron said,
Thank
man. At the end of the day, it's just all about planning. As you guys know, wise man says, "Hey, person who doesn't, you know, make plans, plans to fail." And so, everything starts to feel very overwhelming too, because you become very excited. You're starting something very new. And so what you want to do, you want to be able to get those thoughts out on paper. Write down exactly what your day looks like from the time you get up, from the time you go to sleep at night, and make sure you prioritize correctly. I totally agree with Quentin said about putting family first over business. For me, it's God, family, then business. And so making sure that aligning yourself properly to go out there and achieve all the things that you want to achieve. Because if you don't have the head man first in your life, that will make the ride a little bit more bumpy. He's going to be your guiding source to get you to the finish line, essentially what you want to achieve. And so just making sure that you're prioritizing the right way. So giving God thanks first and foremost every time you wake up out of the bed in the morning. You're going to give him his time. You're not just going to wake up and get straight to work. This is going to help, streamline your process into achieving success much more quicker than achieving it on a consistent basis. That's just my opinion, because your routine is what's going to make you or break you at the end of the day. So if you're just getting up and just going on about your day without having it totally structured down to the minute, then any and everything can essentially come into your way and distract you, and you be very susceptible to giving those distractions attention. Why? Because you can't look down at anything and say, hey, I got this going on at this hour, I got this going on at that hour. So anytime you have a little gap there, or even a time separation from when you're doing one task to the next, and that time is not occupied by doing something that's going to move you toward, expanding your business or even doing more deals, then I'd say that's the biggest thing. These guys really hit it right on the head. I just maybe kind of articulated it a little different than each one of these guys articulated it, but it all hits on the same. I think systems is definitely key. It's going to help you with that. What leads into systems is what? Getting it out on paper first. So, paper is going to lead right into those systems, softwares, processes, SOPs, all that good stuff you need to consider creating as you're going through this process. So writing down what's working for you right now, what's not working for you. This is documentation that would help you, of course, now start to develop out your SOPs once you get to that point. But Byron hit it right on the head, man. A lot of new people. Shit, I was one of, I think all of us, have been there. We start making money, and as entrepreneurs, we tend to spend money. We don't necessarily allocate our money in the proper fashion in order to grow a business and really get it into takeoff mode, right? And so I've been in the business now for 10 years. So, of course, I've had some failures along with successes, and not ashamed to share that at all. But I think one of the biggest things, like Byron said, is making sure that you're allocating your profits wisely. So you always want to make sure that you're putting number one up for the man. You don't got to take care of the man 30%, 20% if you're taxed as an S corp, and then you got your marketing expenses. Of course, you want to have at least maybe 10-15% of those profits going back into marketing to keep the word out there, to keep the phone ringing, or you may even want to put more into marketing, right? Especially in today's market where there's just maybe not as many fruitful opportunities as there were maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And so, however that may look like for you. And then, of course, you want to have something set aside for business reserves, at least 10% of, business reserves, and then 10% maybe going into some type of legacy account, futuristic or innovation account, things that you want to bring to life in your business in the future. You got to have money to do that too as well. So making sure that you're allocating your profits very wisely. Of course, as we're getting into business, none of us really thinks about this. We just want to make money, right? And then what usually happens is we become addicted to just making money. But I think, again, following the advice of what some of these guys have had to offer here, just in a very short time of me being in this room with you guys, I think they hit it right on the head. So I appreciate you guys for letting me speak on it. Hopefully that helps you out. I know it's probably a little similar to what they said, but that's probably a good sign and a clue for you to stick to stay the course on that route, and just keep your mind open on starting with the end in mind. You know what I mean? And then kind of reverse working everything back from there. What does that look like for you day to day to get to that end goal, starting with the end goal in mind? So I appreciate you guys having me on stage as always, man. It's always a blessing.
So
Yo, and
dope.
Dope, TJ.
that's super dope. I think when I was in that, what TJ was talking about, that whole planning thing, that's like a serious stage.
Always a blessing.
So
Yo, and I
dope.
Dope, TJ.
that's super dope. I think when I was in that, what TJ was talking about, that whole planning thing, that's like a serious stage. Because like as visionaries, we forget the plan, right? You know what I mean? Because we're so busy trying to dream that we don't actually plan it out. And so I think it's like super key. I don't, if I'm wrong, you guys say I'm wrong. But I think it's super key that every man have a journal, like literally, a nice journal. You can make it a manly journal, a leather one, with some nice pages that come with with the nice pen. But I think every man need to have a journal, so that way, you can write down, you know, any great idea that you have. I write it down in my journal, right? In the morning, when I write down my I'm grateful statements, right? I write them down in my journal, right? Affirmations, I write them down in my journal. What my team looks like, my plan for marketing, I write that down in my journal. So, and that's one thing that people didn't teach us as kids. You know what I mean? Like writing wasn't cool. I don't know what school y'all went to, but writing wasn't cool. So, I'm saying that because you can do that do it. It's gonna help you. Don't think, oh, that's not cool. That's not for me. I'm gonna do it another way. Nah, you have to. You gotta plan. You gotta write it out so that way you can see it. Because if you see it, you can be it. You know what I mean?
So one quick
Absolutely.
question. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Byron, and then I have a quick question.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add a little piece to that too. A lot of times when we start thinking like systems and SOPs and all these big terms, right, it gets a little scary. And I just want to say one thing, like a lot of times, when you're building out your systems, don't think about it as a big thing that has to be done like next week, or you have to have it all figured out. Sometimes it's just a matter of just taking little bitty things off your plate at a time. So what you'll
Correct.
do is you want to just like take one thing off and get maybe 30 minutes of your week back, right? Or take 20 minutes of your week back. And the way you do that a lot of times is you just look at all of the things that you're doing, right? Now I do it by writing it down on a piece of paper, but and writing it down in columns. So I have one column for all of the things that I do, all of the things, and then I have another column of all of the things that I hate doing that I'm doing, and then another column of the things that I wish I could do a lot more of if I had more time, and then all of the things that I actually enjoy doing, right? And then from that list, I look at all of the things that I absolutely hate doing, and then those are the things that I need to take off my list first. And so what I want to do is I want to just give me a video, give me a little a little set my phone up, record a little training video on that exact thing, just that thing, right? Just that thing. And I want to record that and then put it on a platform. You could put it on a Google Drive if you want to, or you can put it on something like Talent LMS. And then what you'll do is you'll use that to train that next person, whoever that person may be. You want to find somebody who fits those particular tasks that you hate doing, right? Those tasks that you hate doing, find somebody that loves doing those things, and give all of those training videos to them so they can start doing that kind of stuff. And you just monitor their ability to do that, and that's it. Again, it's not about having it all figured out. It's about taking those little bitty things off your list, little by little, step by step. And I'm telling you, before you know it, you'll have a well-oiled machine, and you won't have too much of anything to do in your business other than forecast, other than look at KPIs and lead, and grow the team. So I just want to add that piece. It's on you, DM.
Okay, so that was good. First of all, I just put that website in my browser. Byron, you're the king of systems. Like, so I was writing that down myself because I deal with the it's been delegated guilt myself. But that's just the only way we can really scale and get to the next level. So thank you for the gems. But what I was gonna ask, kind of following up what Sawan said about getting the journal, the black leather journal, I thought that was dope insight. So I just wonder for the men on the stage that are leaders, you guys are doing so much. What does your self care look like on this journey to your next deal? How are you preventing yourself from like grinding so much that now your stress is going up because you do have to take care of yourself? So while we're celebrating you guys today, I hope that this weekend you're getting to unplug and do something to recharge. But yeah, just curious what you guys are doing. on this real estate hustle and grind to take care of yourself?
Yo, I love this. I love this. This is like the perfect topic because I literally, yeah, I love this because I probably earlier this year, I think everybody knows the struggles of hiring, right, and training in the company. So I was just kind of fed up with. I was just kind of fed up with it. I wouldn't say burnt out, but I was just fed up with some things that I didn't like in my business. We had finally got to 30 rental properties, so I was talking to too many tenants every day. I was talking to tenants every day. I was in houses trying to fix something. I think O'Neal, you kind of went through that as well. Like every day you're in a house fixing something, and it was just I didn't like it. So I just said, hey, Sawan, what do I enjoy? Like Byron said, what do I don't enjoy? And I delegated the stuff I didn't like. So every Tuesday at 11 a.m., no matter what, okay, no matter if my kids need attention, no matter if the team needs attention, I take Tuesday at 11 o'clock to get my haircut. That's my haircut day. And that's what time I go. If I got a closing, the closing got to be before or after, or I got to be signing it while I'm in the barber chair on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock. And I like to get a facial on Tuesdays at the barbershop. Give me a facial. I want to feel rich when I get out of this seat. Okay. I got to
Yes,
do it. I
sir.
got to
Talk
do
It's
about
to
it.
it.
feel rich
You
for
know,
me.
for real,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
For real. Because
That's good
rich is a
stuff, man.
feeling.
Yeah,
Riches
good
are
feeling.
feelings. And that's what I try to tell people that you got to find. You got to find what makes you feel good, what makes you feel rich. And so I love cutting the grass too. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I cut the grass. Okay.
Rick
And I
Ross.
love doing that. It makes me feel good. So that's what I do. That's my self care.
My
That's
man
That
got
is
fire.
that
I just
awesome.
Forrest
I
want to
Gump
love
see.
it.
vibe right there. He's like, remember Forrest Gump at the end when he became like a gazillionaire? He's like, I cut that grass because I wanted to. That's Swan right there.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. For
I'm
real.
weird
Hey, by
like
the
that
way,
too. I will go and fix some shit at a house, at one of my houses, like in a minute. And it's funny because I posted it and someone was like, yeah, man, I can feel you on that. Like he was in the DMs, like, and I thought I was the only weirdo that was into just doing random fix up shit. I don't know. I'm weird like.
So fixing stuff is your self care, Byron.
I hate to admit that, Dion. I really do, and I hate that you even put it in my face for me to even
No,
have to admit that.
I wasn't even trying to be funny. I
I
was just
love
like,
that.
is that your self care? That's all
I
right. Go
think
on and fix
so. I,
something.
I like I like learning new things. I like studying like new tech. I like fixing little things every now and then, not all the time, but yeah, you put me on a
Don't
little project, I'll,
don't
I'll enjoy that.
don't forget chilling in the garage.
Chilling in the garage, watering grass, weirdo shit like that. I'm into that.
I
Well,
don't
I
think
say
that's
let's keep
weird.
it going. Rick Ross, I'm sorry, Gina, I'm gonna come to you next.
Yeah,
Rick Ross just had that video,
he loves
which
cutting
was
the
so
grass.
dope. He said he cuts his grass, he could think, and he's so dramatic. But he was like, I can cut this grass, clear my mind, and I don't know how he do. I think he did say he has some people with him, but he does grab a lawnmower and get
Yeah,
to
he
it.
got his
So
friends
it
on
No,
the
makes
line.
sense.
he's got a John Deere tractor.
Woo!
So he doing a lot of riding. I would love
Yeah,
to
he
hear
do a
from
lot of
Tyler, man.
riding.
Tyler, you here, man?
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, what advice you got for the new for the second deal close for my guy Justice, man? Justice.
Man, for the second deal, to get the second deal or with the money from the second deal?
Yeah, so he just closed. He waiting on the wire for his second deal now, and he's just trying to figure out where he should go from there.
I mean, you guys have already given some awesome, tips and advice. Typically, whatever you got your first two deals from is what you're going to get your third from. So, write it down like they said, reverse engineer what's been working, and just remember that as you continue to scale, the CEO, your responsibility is to figure out how to scale and expand while still increasing and improving net profits. So never forget about the net profits in the back of your mind. Only the reason why we build a company is so that we can have, money in our back pockets at the end of the day. So a lot of people sacrifice that and they spend it all on their company before they pay themselves. So if you can't pay yourself the net profits, if you can't, you know, thrive from what you're doing, then you're probably not at the point in your company where you're actually able to scale. You're spending too much money somewhere. So that's one thing. And then another thing that I'm pretty passionate about right now, Another thing that I'm pretty passionate about right now is not locking yourself out of freedom. So it goes back along what everyone else is saying, but it's twofold to it. There's the physical aspect of it, of actually working, continuing to do, the daily grind every single day, not firing yourself from those micro tasks, those hourly tasks that really you shouldn't be doing as a CEO. Some people, I'm not gonna lie though, some people put themselves and they feel success too early, and they think they're worth too much too early. So they go out and they hire a ton of people because they need to fire themselves, is what they say. And in all reality, what they're doing is um, they're catching their business on fire. So it's important to document and figure out true numbers so you can scale on top of those and have realistic, expectations. Like, don't go hiring somebody if you don't know how much they can make. If you haven't made X amount of dollars and you don't know if that person coming on your business can make that same amount of dollars while you're still making your money, then it's probably not the right time. And the other aspect of not locking yourself out of freedom is the mental aspect of things. As a man, as a CEO, as a person who has people you're trying to bring into your companies, and you have to pay for their salaries and your marketing expenses and everything else. You can start to really feel like um, really cloudy, right? You start feeling like you got a lot of shit going on. It starts hurting your mental, health. It starts hurting the way that you talk to your kids. Anytime something's going on, you snap at them, because you're feeling a little frustrated. You lose sleep. You're up to like 3 o'clock in the morning because you're thinking about that deal, that wire coming in or not coming in. And it's really, if you start recognizing that, you're going down a bad path, right? Because something's wrong in your business, something's wrong in your personal life. You got too much expenses in your personal life or too much expenses in your business. So what I recommend people do that are looking to scale, whether you're male or female, is to do an exercise where you take a piece of paper and you draw a line down the center. On the left hand side, you're going to write down everything that you feel when you feel like you're starting to get overwhelmed. And then on the right hand side, put the items that you did or that you could do in order to relieve that. Like, for example, if you start feeling really overwhelmed because you don't have money, right? What is the thing that you did last to get money, right? And so it's like an exercise that you can kind of start learning yourself, because as you continue to grow as an entrepreneur and you continue to have businesses making X amount of dollars, like, it becomes really hard or difficult to recognize when you're in a state that can only show its face like in 30 days or 60 days from now. So you got to catch it really early. So like, I do an exercise where I write down all those feelings that I'm feeling, what's in my mind, what are the things that I know that would help me get out of that state. It might be going to get my haircut every Friday at 1 p.m. for me. It might be going fishing. It might be doing something else. It might be that kind of thing. It might be figuring out what I need to fire for myself, to hire somebody else, whatever it is. But you got to have that check and balance to see, what's going on with me, so that I can make sure that I can perform at my highest capability for those that rely on me. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, like we were saying a few minutes ago, it's like nobody else can truly rely on you. You're never going to be there physically or mentally for your family or your employees if like you're in the clouds. So that's my advice.
That's great.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man. I appreciate that most definitely, man. You said writing it down. You said writing it down, making it plain, man. I love it, and that seems to be like a theme going throughout the show. Is everybody saying just write it down. Write it down, make it plain, visualize it, because you can see it. You can see it before you can see it, and that's just really really key. Appreciate that, and certainly appreciate what you got to say there, Tyler.
I want to ask another question, if that's okay, Tim.
That's perfect.
So, you guys really didn't speak too much about self care, and for me, I feel
Well,
like self care for me is very very important. Like whether it's like getting my hair done, my nails done, get my facial. For me, that's normal. Like that's maintenance, right? But
right.
I like to go sit in the garage. I might be a dude at the end of the day because I like to sit in the garage. I want to do the handy activities. But I like being outside, just going on a simple walk. But what are you guys doing with self care? Because a lot of people look up to you guys. But I need to know, like, what is y'all self care?
Well,
When
I'm
time y'all not taking time for
well,
yourselves and being the bosses that y'all are, the leaders that y'all are? We
well, I'm
care about y'all mental health.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just got my first haircut 2 days ago. I've been cutting my hair for like the last year because of the pandemic. But I just got my first haircut, and that used to be like one of my rituals. Was like someone said, was getting a haircut specific time every week, and I just got my first haircut, got a facial, and just remember that now, and that is that for me. Make I'm doing it again next week. So, so yeah, it's
Hey,
key.
hey, Gina. Hey, Tim, Will, good to see you guys.
What's
Hey,
up, bro?
you got it. I'll be honest with you. I think for me, it is having that ability to disconnect from your business. Because to your point, the folks on this stage, they're grinding, 20 hours a day, they're really doing a lot to keep their business going. From an educational perspective, from a promotional perspective, marketing perspective. So your mind is like always going. You're always thinking of, other ways to improve your business or to scale up your business. So for me, it's about like just taking steps back from my business, reading a short book. And for those who know me, it's about, having a nice glass of bourbon or scotch with a cigar, so it is stepping back from your business, maybe, 2 hours a day, as opposed to, waiting to that end of the week kind of thing. I take my breaks throughout the day. So yeah, that mental break throughout that process. You don't want to get too high, you don't want to get too low about stuff, and especially with these deals. Like the young man here, he's working on his second deal. Hey man, celebrate that and move on. Don't get too high about it. Just go ahead and start working on that next deal. But yeah, taking that mental break is key to anyone's success. Definitely with me.
I
Uh,
just love that you said that. Oh, sorry, Tyler.
I'll share mine because I think over the last 5 years, I've found that I'm also big whiskey and cigars, so that's one of them. I don't read during whiskey and cigars though, because what I find is that it kind of puts me out of place. But what I do is I take a book that I've highlighted all the way through, and it's actually always the same exact book. I like religiously kind of like read my highlights through it. So the whole thing has a bunch of highlights. It's the Seven Strategies of Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. It's always out there with me when I'm smoking. And so that's one, right? But as I continue to do that, as I continue to like go out on runs and spend me time and to be able to think, what I realized is that I was giving myself the capability to think too much. And so after I sat and thought so much, even if after writing things down, I never got the ability to stop thinking. And so I continued to kind of bottle up. And so I wrote it down on my sheet, right? Left side, right side of what the things are that I feel and how I can like combat them. And so I started finding things that make it to where I can't think in the process of what it is that I'm doing. So I can truly get that mental like relaxation. um, One of them is like I thought back, like what are the things that I like doing that made it to where I never did, and that was tattoos. So every quarter, I add to tattoos because that's the only time my tattoo artist can get me in. So like 2 days ago, I added three more. So at that moment, like I don't really think about anything business because I'm thinking about the tattoo that's going on my arm. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I started doing workouts or being part of things that don't allow you to think very much. So, like local soccer, right? When you're running and you're kicking and you know, you're sprinting, like it's really difficult to think about any other business function or anything that's going on in your life because you're thinking about the ball, right? I started up jujitsu, so 2 days a week there's jujitsu. So that when you're getting your ass kicked, especially when you're new in jiu-jitsu, you really don't think about anything else. You're just thinking about the fact you don't want to get choked out, right? So having an equal balance for me of things that allow me to think and allow me to let my thoughts go, but then like making it to where I can't think at all, and I have like true like mental like forgiveness, if you will. So that's what I do. So I at least 2 to 5 times a week, there's something in my day that revolves around one or both of those things. So
Hey Tyler, I would add, getting into those deep tissue massages. Because to your point, the way you work out, the way you sounds like you work out. Because I try to do that. I try to work out, and let me take that word try out. I do work out pretty consistently, but I that getting these Swedish massages or these deep tissue massages takes my mind completely off of work, uh, the stresses of what I have to do on a daily basis. So I do that at least twice a month. Gina, that was my other care thing. So
I love it. I just think because everyone pours, especially the men on this stage, like you guys pour so much into others, and I would love for you guys to pour more into yourselves because self-care is very, very important. So I just want to tell you guys, I'm thankful for all that you do. I'm thankful for the fact that you guys are willing to pour into us, willing to share and just be the superior men that you are. A lot of people don't have that in their lives. So to be able to come on that app, to be able to see others that are doing it and leading the way, I definitely need you guys to pour into yourself. So I just want to say thank you.
I love that. And you know what, to add to that too, exactly what you're saying. Anyone here who gives at the caliber, that Byron, Tyler, these guys, Will, Tim, it takes so much out of us to do this consistently. We have to deal with the frustrations of giving somebody the map and sometimes them not being successful with it, right? Or recommending certain things and then them not following through, or speaking for long periods of time and just always having everyone else on our mind. I fell in love with the gym. That has got to be the best thing that I've ever done in my life. And I had tried it before, but not to the level that I'm doing it. I feel that self-love is so important, and for the longest time I was in a dark space. Like literally a year ago today, I was drinking every single day of my life, and I was still trying to be this social media Q that a lot of people know me for. And I wasn't spending a lot of time with my lady. I didn't have the energy to spend time with my son. My sex life wasn't there either because I was 320 pounds. I noticed then that I had to make a real big change in my life, and I couldn't give at my highest. So I think it's important that for people who want to give, if you're watching this or you're trying to lead by example and you're trying to add value to someone, man, you got to be the absolute best version of yourself. So if you're going to do self love so that you can give more. If does that make sense? Like you got to love yourself enough to be able to want to operate at the highest ability that you possibly can in all areas: physical, mental, spiritual, financial. Because if you're not the best version of yourself, then people are going to get the half-assed version of you. When people around you deserve to be around the best version of yourself. What I do heavily is I like setting goals for myself. For example, I've built multiple successful companies, and the wholesaling stuff and the real estate stuff, all of that was just entry level to what we're doing right now in our space. I like creating new goals, and I feel that as I adapt and I challenge myself to do something that I've never done before, it only opens up the door and elevates everything else in places where I thought that there were no more doors to be opened. So, I mean, anybody can build successful businesses. Not everybody can compete in a competition where they have to flex a specific amount of muscles on stage. That's something very few people have done. And I've never done that in my whole life. And so I decided to put that as a goal and ended up falling in love with it. So, if there's anything that people should do in regards to self-love, they should try things that they never thought that they were capable of doing before, like the jujitsu thing that Tyler's doing, the cutting the grass, or even learning how to fix your car versus paying for help. There's so much that you'll learn from just putting pieces together in other areas. You'll realize how many things you were overlooking and what you were already passionate about, because you're finding things in other places where there were holes in those areas. So just learning how to put pieces together is a form of self-love. And I think that for anybody that's listening to this from the crowd, from the perspective of someone who's been doing this for a minute, who's been successful in different types of areas and who's also failed in multiple areas. And Tyler had mentioned that thing, right, about scaling. That was me. I hired a shit ton of people, and I almost drove my company into the ground. Tyler was a huge help in me revamping my systems. And so with that being said, there's always a place where if you think that you've plateaued and you think that you've hit somewhere, that this is the best that it's going to get, I guarantee you it can get better. But sometimes you got to stop what you're doing and you got to focus on that self-love and remember who you are and become the best version of yourself so that you can elevate to those different levels in those places where you're passionate and in those habits that you're trying to form. So that's what I got to say about that.
Hey, Quentin, I love that everything that you just said, and I just want to say, like you said, how you have to be able to be your best to be able to give others your best. And Jeremy is one of your mentees, right? And I'm using you as an example because I know everything that you do, Jeremy is picking up on it. He's taking away from it because we all have a smaller group chat, and Ty is in it as well down there. But Jeremy is so selfless, and he wants to give to see everyone succeed, everyone elevate. Like he literally is in the chat every day. God bless you all. Take action. He's sharing tips, but I know that's coming just from the man that he is, but also what he sees in you, what you're pouring into him. So that's why I said I just want to say thank you because it does take a lot of effort, but you're really making an impact on one's life, and he wants to make another impact on our lives as well. So I just wanted to share that too.
You're beautiful, Gina. Thank you so much, man. And if there's anything that I can do to add value to your business, you know how to, you can find me. Just holler at me, and I got you.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'm telling you, Jeremy leading the way for us, and that's for sure. And Ty, I know if you was to come up, you would say the same thing about Jeremy every day. But I know it's literally coming from you. So yes, thank you.
That's good
Yo,
stuff.
I got a question for Tyler, bro. Why jujitsu? I just got to know.
Actually, man, so one of my students, actually, he's been in jujitsu for 22 years. Really, I wouldn't even call him a student. I call him a friend. But he's in the Allies, war room, and he came down for Sif Dojo a couple weeks back, and I was speaking with him, and as I was speaking with him, I was like, man, something I've always appreciated about him is that he always, even in like times where like he's got a lot of shit going on, he's always like very like zen, like he doesn't seem like it really affects him very much. And I'm that way too. Like I let things pass through me really easily. But he like seemed like on another level, and I didn't know he did jujitsu. And so, we were, hanging out or whatever. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, dude, like, show me some of this jujitsu stuff. So he showed me like some of like the choke outs and this, these other things. And so I think about it more, and I was like, growing up, or, I did some like boxing and like little stuff like that, but I never really took any of it seriously. And then I learned like some other buddies like that has some other businesses locally. Went to like some of the jujitsu places here, and I was like, you know what? Like that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. I never really wanted to do jujitsu. If I was gonna do anything, it was gonna be something where I could punch things again, because I was coming at it from the approach of like I wanted to like let out my anger, and then I realized that that's not really the right way to go about it. I want to do something that makes me think more like tactfully in my thoughts, and that's what jujitsu is all about. It's all about like kind of like chess, right? You're thinking like 5 steps, before you might get choked out. So um, I've loved it. It's awesome, and it makes you sweat. It makes you think, and in the end, it's all about like accepting when you're like you can't control something. So that's why I want more so with jujitsu than like Muay Thai or anything else, is because in jujitsu you end up accepting the fact that you have to tap out, and in business and life, you have to do the same thing. So.
Fire. That is fire.
That's
To
a
look
great
into
perspective.
jujitsu now.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. That's awesome. I think we got Delina. Delina, do you have a question, sis?
Yes, I do have a
How you
question.
doing?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So, I'm thinking about the second or third deal. I just completed my second deal, and of course, it was probably much harder than the first one. and it could probably be the length of time. So 3 years from my first deal, I closed the second one in terms of an investment property. So now that I just closed on the second one, I'm thinking, is it really going to take me 3 years again to close the third one? So I've gotten feedback that my thing is like, how do you go about finding that property and not spending way too much time that you don't have? I don't have time to mail people, like the marketing part, cold calls and things like that. I'm not trying to do this full time, just trying to acquire a couple of properties before retirement, to supplement my income. So, what do I do if I don't want to go into marketing and, like go into networking meeting, find people who can steer me to the right direction? I totally understand by the time, like, the best way to find a deal is not really in a listing like realtor.com. So, like, what are my other options, if that makes sense?
Uh, I can touch on this real quick first, if you don't mind. So, honestly, I'll debunk one thing when it comes to most of the real estate industry when it comes to wholesaling. When people say wholesaling, what they're talking about is not assigning contracts or whatever. If you get one and you want to keep it as a rental, you're assigning it essentially to yourself. Doing it consistently, like consistently finding discounted properties, is the form of wholesaling. It's really just an acquisitions company, right? So what it sounds like to me is that if you don't want to physically do the marketing, then you just don't do that component, right? So you're gonna have to find someone who's assigning a contract, which most people again confuse with wholesaling. Someone assigning a contract. So go around and find other people that are bringing in volume and giving out assignment of contracts on off market properties and make offers on them. So that's like your very first, thing to fit with exactly what you just said. The second one would be to literally just make offers on the MLS. I know like people say, oh, there's no deals on the MLS, and it's really just, it means that they're not actually making a bunch of offers and they're not being
Right,
aggressive with it. Because there is. I got a buddy in my market. He does 3 flips a month solely off the MLS, right? I mean, it's definitely there. It's just people list properties all the time and don't know that like a cash offer is a thing, right? So definitely
right, right,
still make offers on the MLS. Have an agent find those for you. Set up the perfect criteria and have them send you properties like maybe it's 1975 or older, and it doesn't look like it's been remodeled anytime recently, and whatever. You can give them the criteria. So having an agent work for you, having wholesaler companies, right, and watch for deals from them. And third option is to just accept the fact that if you really want the best deals, you're going to have to do some form of marketing, and you're just really going to have to set an annual budget on what that marketing looks like for you. If you're going to do your own marketing, you could dedicate 10,000 a year to marketing, and you're still going to end up having probably way better deals than you would still get on the MLS or from another wholesaler or acquisitions company. Um, and it doesn't have to be super crazy, right? You can have other people do the calling. I mean, you got Quentin who has VA Hub. He's got callers. You have direct mail, which is really efficient, right? But all of those, no matter if someone's generating leads for you and you don't got to really worry about the marketing aspect of things, you're still going to have to do the acquisitions component now. Um, and analyze the deal. So I think really you just got to figure out kind of where you fit in that. Maybe you're a
right,
hybrid, and then just be consistent with it. Because what it really sounds like is over the last 3 years, maybe you weren't fully dedicated to like outbound marketing and generating a deal. Maybe you kind of were just doing it, like you said, on the side as it came up. If it takes 3 years, however, to get the perfect deal and the best deal, I would rather pick up a rental property every 3 years. That's the perfect rental property and the perfect deal, than to pick up okay deals. Personally, just because I believe one good deal is better than five okay deals. That's just my philosophy. But, um, you know, more networking, more local meetups, and more more connections, and then trickle out maybe $200 a month in direct mail. Just have it. What you could do is send out $200 a month in direct mail, okay, and have that postcard say, "Hey, I work a full-time job. Um, if you call this number, essentially it goes to a voicemail with what I can offer you. If it interests you, please leave a voicemail with your name and number." They go to the voicemail. It's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. It's you saying, "Hey, this is what I do. I work full time. I'm looking to pick up some more rental properties. I would love to make an offer on your property. If you're interested, leave a voicemail." And then you only have to call back the people that leave a voicemail that say they're interested, which isn't that much. Maybe it's 15 minutes a day or something. You got to check and do some work. So just a few advice. I don't know what others have.
Thank you. And I have been, I mean, I probably made way more offers than before I get it, it accepted. So um, it's not like I'm sitting there not making offers. It's just that my offers probably are typically not accepted.
And that's okay. It just depends. Like that delves into another question on, like, okay, could we be more conservative with offers? Are we being too conservative? um, what kind of properties are we making offers to? Is it really the type of property? Because you can make offers all day, but the ones that you're going to get, like, for more aggressive offers, the types of properties that you're going to get a higher chance of success for them to accept an offer, especially a low offer, is anytime that there's money and time involved. Like, you want to be making offers to things that have the need to sell in a given time period.
Right.
And if they don't, there's a form of money that they end up essentially losing or having to put into it. So, you know, foreclosures are okay, but they have a really long close time. So it just really depends on the foreclosure. Tax auction properties are the best. So if you're going to be doing your own marketing a little bit and making your own offers, then probably like vacant tax delinquent properties are going to be one of your best valued properties, because of or value prospect, because they're vacant. They're going to go to auction anyway, so they really don't have that much to lose.
Right.
There's only money, but there's also still time, because there's a fixed hard date that they can't control to make them have to make a decision. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, that was excellent advice. I think Tyler, you pretty much encapsulated everything that Dolina would need to know. And I guess the only question I would have, Miss Dolina, is what kind of time are you putting into it? Are you full time? Are you part time? What kind of time are you putting into the business?
I mean, I guess inconsistent time. When you all say that, what are the things that calms you down? And I think me going to the MLS and looking like strolling up down properties, that calms me down. Like I always say, I do it as a hobby. But if I'm sitting down and instead of watching TV, I probably will open, like a website and look at properties. So that, in my opinion, brings me joy. And the other time that I'm on it is if a tenant calls me, I arrange fixing and things like that. So like definitely nothing consistent, nothing planned, just probably reactive rather than proactive.
And I appreciate you being open about that and honest about that. But I truly believe that if you decided, notice I said if you decided to actually be a little bit more proactive about the business, I guarantee you'll find deals. I guarantee it. Even in some of the places that we just named, we talk about the MLS. Like you said, I mean, there are people that buy like 3, 4 deals a month off the MLS, but it's simply because they're consistent. I mean, the thing about it is, the more you do something, uh, you know, the more you'll be successful at it. Is what I found. And if you're inconsistent at it, then you're just going to miss the opportunities, and that's the way I've seen it. So, if I were to give you any advice, it would be to work to be a little bit more consistent at it if you believe that it's going to be a priority that's going to help you get to
Right.
that place.
Thank you.
And I just want to chime in and just say, Dolina, in your bio, you say you are a wannabe stock investor, cryptocurrency, and a real estate investor. How try that because you are going to be? Like, it's all about the mindset too. Connect with somebody in Florida as well. I know Tampa Bay is down there. You got all others who are in Florida. Definitely get out there, connect and
DJ.
network with someone for
Yes,
sure.
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
and Tyler, I just want to say I am amazed at how quick you were able to shower and get out the house. That is a true, true talent.
Yeah, I'm outside smoking a cigar and drinking a coffee now. So
Hey, Tyler, real quick, man. Can you kind of share a little? I was looking at your business, man. Can you share a little bit more about your business? Because I'm curious.
yeah, so I mean, I have a couple. Obviously, I have the real estate company, where we buy off market properties, yada yada yada. Primarily now, we're kind of more on the commercial side, looking for more bigger deals. But I then my background's in cybersecurity, and so as I kind of got delved into real estate, I found some needs and things that were missing that I think that we needed, and as a way to kind of maintain our data and the flow of turning more prospects to leads and more leads to actual revenue, not more leads to deals, but more leads to revenue. Because anticipating deals falling through is like kind of like accepting the fact that we're gonna die, and so let's not run or be healthy about it, right? So I created a software company called REI Sift that essentially allows you to upload all your data, check for vacancy, do all that stuff. It's got the list stacking component in there. I don't really like talking about it because people overthink that side of the house. But we educate and teach people how to properly intake and market through data sequentially. We integrate with products like call tools to be able to send out data to call tools, receive data back, Zen call, air call, and we just kind of teach people how to do things the right way. It's not really like there's a wrong way. There's just educated in our marketplace that I guess not numbers, and it's more so like kind of like drive from ego, like let's just blast like data, let's just blast data, let's just blast data. And you're going to get a result from that, but once there's no more data to buy, you now you kind of like accepting the fact your company's going to die at some point. It has a half-life with it. So we kind of teach people how to get the most out of it. Like, you skip trace something, you get 10 phone numbers. Well, only one of them theoretically are the right number. Maybe two of them are belonging to a sibling or something. But if you call through all 10, some of them are dead, some of them are wrong numbers, some of them are DNC numbers, and nobody like tracks that, for example. So they'll cold call through a list and then they'll SMS through the list. So they're like double spending or triple spending or 7x spending on phone numbers. They're like wrong numbers, and that's it's just not like healthy, right? So we want to not do that. So that's what we kind of focus on. We have task management, we have the CRM we're launching, and all that other kind of stuff. So I'm just doing me, man. Just listening to our user base and continuing to produce a product that they believe in. So
That's great stuff, man. For somebody like Dolina, it looks like Dolina. I think Dolina said she's an attorney. She can pretty much do. She can pretty much gather that information by using a VA or something like that, and then they can do a lot of the work for her, per se. And
yeah,
it's a lot there, but they can do a lot of that work for her, and then translate those into leads for her on a consistent basis instead of her being, I guess what she said is inconsistent, then, she can actually hire out. And I just noticed in her profile that, I think she may have another business or something like that, but she can actually hire out and then in turn, produce those leads. And then she just basically answers the calls, correct?
yeah. I mean, I just realized that she was in Florida. What part of Florida are you in, Delina?
I'm in Miami, Florida, South
Oh,
Florida.
okay. All right. Well, I'm like 12 hours north of you in Destin, Florida.
Right.
So, but yeah. So you could use like a product like REI Sift or a system's pretty similar to it, and you could get just your have a VA pull your tax auction data and your tax delinquent data into something like that, and then filter down by the zip code that you want, to buy your rental properties in, and just have them use a product like AirCall or Google Voice, and literally just call through each number and properly, go through it, and And then you can even have a VA make offers for you. I mean, at least a soft offer to make sure that's where you're not wasting your time, making those offers and dealing with people who aren't fully interested. The biggest problem that people end up having when it comes to, like, especially tax delinquent data, foreclosure data, probate data, is they call through it once or twice and they work it, and then they think that, oh well, we can't reach those people. So you're kind of like admittedly saying, like, well, I'm not like a really good marketer, I pretty much quit, because the fact remains that they're still probate, they're not coming back to to life. They're still delinquent, they're not paying their taxes, so the only question is, can we reach them? And the sad thing is that when it comes to like niche data and things like that, most of the time it's all um, it's usually like, you're not ever going to reach the homeowner, right? They're not the type of individual that ever, like, had credit, or they're borrowing someone's phone because they don't have the money for a phone plan. So even if you did skip trace them, you're not going to reach them. So usually you end up reaching them through like their siblings or through somebody else, just like most probate cases happen. You got to dig down and find the heirs and get a hold of them. You got to, maybe get a hold of their kid before you get a hold of them so that they can sign the deed. There's a lot of extra work that goes around those, but typically they're the deals that are the ones that you end up seeing like randomly listed because the attorney finally got a hold of all the heirs, and now it's on the open market, and now it's getting offers. So if you want to get the good deals, you just gotta put a process in place, a really simple process. It doesn't have to be complicated. We have one we call the Sensei Flow, and it just, you just work through the data, and then the people who you can't reach via the phone, you send them a direct mail piece, and the people that they don't respond, you start researching their siblings, and a VA can do literally all that.
I'm sorry, maybe I missed something. What's a VA again?
A VA is a virtual assistant, or just a remote employee, or an employee who's cheaper. I mean, technically, a VA can be like, I have a VA in Florida, right? But she's, went from being a VA, which was my executive assistant. Now she's my business operations. So it's not really I wouldn't term her as a VA no more, but technically she is, because she's virtual. She's not in my office. But in the industry, most people, associate VA as someone in the Philippines or South America that, has a lower, dollar per hour cost, and they can do a lot of the administrative and a lot of the lower income cost tasks, the low productivity tasks, or high productivity but low income tasks, and they can do it for cheaper, so that you can focus on the high income tasks, such as actually making like the firm offer, or setting going to view the property, or things like that.
So, so you said that you may not be able to find them through like a skip trace or maybe an accurate report. Then, what, do you get an investigator on them, or like who? How does the process go? If you
Yes. So, I mean, you being an attorney, you'll kind of understand a little bit of the lingo that I might mention here. But depending on the property, let's just say, like, there's a property across from me, for example, on my house. It's been vacant forever. I've got a hold of them and everything, but the first step of me reaching out to them was first, skip tracing, my neighbor, finding out where they're living, where they're, call them, try to get a hold of them via the phone. If that didn't work, and that property is owned by an elderly woman, she's 93. I couldn't reach her; it was dead. Like, I probably could continue on forever, but she doesn't have credit, she doesn't have a phone, yada yada yada. Right. So the next step is like, okay, I can't reach her through the phone, so I sent a direct mail piece to, where show it as her mailing address. Sent out that direct mail piece, and while that was happening, then I started researching, like, okay, well, she's older, so let's see if she has any kids, or let's see if she's deceased even. So we checked to see if she's deceased. You can use legacy.com for that, or other open source products. And so she wasn't deceased, but then I looked to see if she had kids using like ancestry.com. Ancestry.com showed she did have a son. His name's Demetrius, right? And he so happened to own the property she has as a mailing address, right? So, okay, next target is Demetrius. So reach out, and Demetrius is 53. So Demetrius does have credit. He does have a phone. And so I was able to reach Demetrius and, communicate with Demetrius about, what's going on with the property, so on and so forth. If I couldn't reach Demetrius at this point, the next step would have been, okay, well, is there any other heirs? Is there any other, people that could have legal rights to this property?
So you can go down that approach yourself and continue going down an ancestry report and trying to reach out to people and using resources, or you could hire someone like a genealogist, $150, and they'll do the whole report for you, or a private investigator. Both would stand in court to be able to do so. Because the next step after that's done, if it comes back and it says, hey, there is no more heirs. That property's sitting there, it's vacant. The only really option that's going to end up happening is it's going to go to foreclosure auction or tax auction because there's no one out there to do anything with it. You can actually then go to the court and submit to actually have the judge sign the purchase and sales agreement to sell the property to you. But he's going to need that genealogy report or that PI report stating that there's nobody else. And those funds get held inside of the unclaimed funds, no different than tax auctions or foreclosure auctions. And then actually a fun thing is that if you then go to the unclaimed funds court, whatever money you paid the county for the property, you can then actually continue to try, if you want to find a legal heir, and then charge them to work with them to get the unclaimed funds out of the court system. So it's actually kind of like a double whammy if you end up getting to that stage on a property. Ideally, it doesn't get that far, but there's money everywhere to be made in the transaction.
Right. Okay. Two things. So I'm the type that will need an like a whole company to do that for me, because I do use investigators or companies to track people.